Hello, welcome to eBritish IELTS. Today we will be talking about another interesting kind of question related to the reading module. Now if you've seen our previous videos and if you are a little privy about what IELTS is, what the different types of modules are, you'll be sure to understand that reading has different types of questions. Now today I'll be talking about one particular type of question that we often see in reading. This is known as fill in the blanks. Now fill in the blanks are the most common type of question we can come across in reading and in any sort of comprehension, to be honest, right? So now fill in the blanks are also of two types here. First of all, if we look at IELTS reading and fill in the blanks, the first type would be the one that I'm talking about today, choosing words from the passage and fitting it into the question asked. And the second type that you will come across is filling in the blanks based on a list of words given to you. But let's keep the reading using list of words, your fill in the blanks using list of words for another day altogether. Today we'll talk about how we can solve fill in the blanks in reading based on words we have to pick from the passage itself. So if you look at the type of question first of all, there are many types of questions you will come across, but certain things are going to be very simple. The basic pattern of your question is going to remain the same. For example, if your passage looks like something of this sort, there are going to be 5, 6, 7 paragraphs maximum for you guys, and after that you will have a summarized version, generally a summarized version of the passage which asks you questions, and there are certain words omitted in the question in the passage and you have to choose words based on whatever you've read there. But before you start attempting this, it's important to understand how to attempt it. Now you can't be wasting your entire time reading through the passage first and then based on your general understanding of the passage and your prior information and knowledge about topics of such nature, you fill in generally answers generally, you choose in words of your own liking. You can't do that. So there's a certain protocol you follow basically, right? So if you look at certain things that you have to keep in mind before you begin writing or choosing words as an answer, these are the 3 things you will always keep in mind. First of all, you have to identify keywords for scanning and skimming. Now you'll always look at the question first and then based on whatever the question is asking, try to skim and scan through the text to figure out what your answer has to be, right? So once you've done that, once you've gone to your question, look for words which are important to help you find information. Once you've done that, come to the passage. And now comes the second point you have to keep in mind. Once you're at the passage, you have to identify synonyms related to those keywords. The keywords that you've decided are major words for you to look for your answers. It's not necessary that the same words are going to be used in the passage. At times what they do is, they're very clever, these people, let me tell you. What they'll do is, they will use synonyms of those keywords, and that is something which you should be aware about. Synonyms are something you need to know so that you can figure out whether this is the exact same thing that they're talking about or not. And another thing you will keep in mind while working with synonyms is that synonyms are not necessarily the answers. They will try to trick you into thinking that, oh, I found the synonym, this is going to be the answer. No, they are just going to be pointers. They are going to be guiding lights towards helping you find the particular word which is going to be an answer. At times synonyms can be an answer, I am not going to refute that, but most of the time synonyms are simply pointers, not the final answer. So after these 2 things have been done, you've figured out what the keywords are, you've skimmed and scanned for them, and you've identified the synonyms and you've identified the location of the answer, and let's say you've picked out a word or 2 to fit in as your answer. So once you pick that word out, you have to be careful about 3 things. First of all, obviously it should make sense. If it is not making sense, it's not going to be the answer. Second, every question has some sort of a demand. If the words you have chosen do not meet the demand of the question, can it really be the answer? No. And the final thing, the first 2 things are relatively easy to come across once you've identified the first 2 pointers that are there on your screen, right? And the third thing you will keep in mind is that the word that you've chosen or the group of words that you've chosen, they have to be grammatically accurate based on the sentence of the question. If it is grammatically inaccurate, the words that you've chosen might probably be right, but you'll either have to add or subtract one or two words before or after the main word to fit into the grammatical bill of the question, right? So now let's look at the exercise that I showed you as an example and figure out how to solve questions based on questions like these. Alright, so this is what the passage looks like. It's talking about animal camouflage. There's a lot of information, some is relevant, some is irrelevant, but let's see how to go about it. So this is the entire passage that we have. It was not fitting in one page, so I've given you 2 pages. Let's not waste time reading it. Let's look at the questions and then decide what is relevant for us. Now, if you look at the first question, it says, camouflage helps animals hide from both. But before we begin with that, just look at the question once. The question says, complete the summary below. So, it's a summary type question with missing words and pieces of information. And it says, choose no more than 3 words from the passage for each answer. So, words have to be chosen from the passage, and the word limit, the limit of the answer should not exceed 3 words. That is something they have clarified right in the beginning. Now, this is also important. If you don't read the question first, you will not be aware about the number of words you can use. Fine, if they give you an upper limit of 3, it's not compulsory that you have to meet the upper limit. The answer can be of let's say 2 words or 1 word. That's fine, that's not the problem. But it's not going to exceed 3 in any case, and that is something you'll have to keep in mind, right? So now let's get down to solving the question. It says camouflage helps animals hide from both dash. So camouflage is helping animals hide from 2 things, 2 people, 2 something, right? So that is what we have to figure out what the 2 things are, right? So now let's go to the passage. Now I've highlighted few sections where the answers are so that it's easier for you to understand the area where I am reading, and so that you don't feel left out and you understand the usage of the 3 pointers I gave at the beginning. Now if you look at the 4th line in the first paragraph, it says, animals that use camouflage to conceal themselves from their enemies, predator and prey alike, provide a classic example of natural selection at work. Now the second half of the question is something we are not really interested in, but the first half piques our interest. Why? First of all, one keyword that we identified there was in the question was hide. So animals are hiding from something or somebody, right? So the word camouflage given in this particular sentence is a synonym of the word hide, right? So here, the word conceal. The word conceal is a synonym of the word hide. So now what are they concealing themselves from? From their enemies. But now enemies is grouping everything together. So we need a word which is not enemies but conveying something related to enemies, because they are hiding from their enemies. That is plain and simple. But the question says they are hiding from both. So both requires 2 words, 2 things. So after enemies they have written predator and prey alike. Right? So enemies, if you bifurcate it further, becomes predator and prey. So this has to be your answer. Now if you look at the answer, it says camouflage helps animals hide from both predators and prey. Right? So that simply becomes your answer. The answer is given right there. It's hidden amongst the synonyms of the keywords you identified in the question, and that becomes your answer. Moving on to the second question, it says animals pass on their dash through their genes. So they are passing something on genetically. So this genes, this word genes, genetic, something passing on genetically has to be relevant to the location where your answer is at. Now if you look at the location, come to the first paragraph and the lines marked in green. It says creatures with some type of protective coloring pass along the genes responsible, with each generation fine-tuning them along the way, eventually providing the most executive coloring for the environment and lifestyle. So here they are talking about evolution of a certain kind of coloring gene which is inherited by animals, and they use it according to whatever their environment and surroundings are like, right? So what is the gene that is being passed on? Something to do with protective coloring, right? So here if you look at this line again, creatures with some type of protective coloring pass along the genes responsible. So what are they passing along? Protective coloring, right? So now if we look into the question, let's see how we can fit protective coloring as an answer for ourselves. So now if you look at it, animals pass on their dash through their genes. So what is it that they're passing on? Ability to use protective colors, ability to mold that. So the animals pass on their protective coloring through their genes. Genetically, this is the thing that is being passed on, right? So that becomes your answer. Looking at the third question, it says, an animal's appearance helps it dash with its environment. So now they're talking about something in background matching, something to do with the animal's external appearance happens and helps it do something with its environment. So what is it doing? Probably match, probably fit in, probably stand out, something of that sort, right? So they are doing something with the environment. So environment is a keyword here, and background matching. They are matching themselves with the background, camouflaging. That is what it is about, right? So now if you look at the passage here, come to the second paragraph and the second line. It says, all sorts of wildlife use background matching, also known as crypsis, to blend in with their surroundings. So all sorts of wildlife, what are they doing? They use background matching. Every animal, every wildlife animal matches their themselves to the background. This is known as crypsis. This part is not relevant to us, but then it says to blend in with their surroundings. Now the question has the word environment. Here in the text we have the word surroundings. So both of them are synonyms of each other if you come to look at it in the broader sense. So the answer is somewhat related to this. So what are the animals according to the text doing to the surrounding? They are blending in with the surrounding. So the word blend in has been used here. Now if you look at the answer here, in background matching, an animal's appearance helps it blend in with the environment. In the passage they talk about the surrounding, here they talk about the environment. And what are they doing? Why are they background matching? How do they do it? Why do they do it? To blend in with the environment. That's it. That's how you choose your answers. Now there are two other answers given here. Quickly take a look at this passage. And after this, take a look at this as well. I have helped you identify how these passages are used to figure out what your keywords are, what the synonyms are, and I've helped you solve 3 particular questions here. Now based on this, use this and the answers given here to help yourself understand how to match the keywords and how to pick out the word which will help you understand how to deal with questions of this nature. Now if you understand what this is about technically, you will see that choosing words from the passage is not difficult as long as you have decent vocabulary. Now if your vocabulary game is a little weak, obviously it will become a little difficult for you to understand synonyms, match the word, pick the correct word. But if your synonym power is strong, if your vocabulary is strong enough, it will be very easy for you to do so. So try to brush up on your vocabulary skills, try to read more, try to watch more movies, try to talk to more people using this language. This shall help you understand how to decipher what a synonym is, what the synonym is trying to convey, and what is the word that has to fit in as an answer. So that's how we generally solve filling in the blanks without any words given as help. Hopefully this has been an experience of learning for you. Hopefully you will take something out of it and try to implement it in your reading skills when you attempt your papers. Try to do it in this way. This shall help you out. But if there are any problems, we have teachers who are taking live sessions and live classes all the time for you. You will find links attached to this video. You will find links in the description box as well. Try to use those links, try to get in touch with our teachers who are experts of IELTS, and they will help you solve any doubt you have in real time as well. So try to keep these things in mind, keep practicing. IELTS is not a very difficult thing at all. Reading is also easy once you start gaining more and more practice. So keep on doing it and keep watching this space for such videos regarding IELTS further. Thank you. See you guys soon.